The Young and the Restless Spoilers. Welcome back to our channel, guys. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the absolute madness that is going on in Genoa City right now. Grab your coffee or whatever you need to get through this, because we have a lot to talk about and my head is spinning. So let's just get right into it. Honestly, I've been staring at my screen for hours trying to process what the writers are doing right now, and I am half thrilled and half terrified. You guys know the whole Doctor. Lawrence Markham storyline has been dragging a bit, right? Like Diane Jenkins Abbott goes missing. She gets tortured in some weird padded room. Patty Williams is involved, and this Markham guy is pulling the strings. But we all kind of felt like something was off. The guy was a ghost, and now we know why. Because Markham isn't even a real person, and Diane and Traci finally figured it out. Thank God someone in this town still has a brain. So Diane has been basically paralyzed with fear, hiding in the Abbott mansion, jumping at every shadow because she thinks this Markham psycho is going to come back and finish the job. But she's also been trying to piece together the clues from when she was held captive. She remembered seeing a bunch of books by Dr. Alan Laurent in that creepy house. And then she and Traci started digging, and they realized something huge. The signatures. Diane saw the signatures of Martin and Alan in the house, and it just clicked. Markham is a completely fake identity. It's just a name made up to hide the real monster. Markham is Martin Laurent. Let that sink in for a second. Martin Laurent, the psychopath who tortured Phyllis and Sharon, the evil twin. He just slapped on a fake name, maybe changed up his look or his vibe, and started working with Patty Williams to terrorize the Abbotts. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. Who else would be crazy enough to team up with Patty? Two psychos in a pod. But when Diane and Traci put the pieces together and realized that the man hunting Diane is actually Martin, the panic sets in. Real panic. Not just the usual soap opera, oh no, I'm scared. Traci is terrified. And Traci is usually the rock, right? She's the moral compass. She's the one who holds Jack and Billy together when they are falling apart. But this is Martin Laurent we're talking about. The guy is a lethal, unhinged maniac. Traci knows that Jack is recovering, Kyle is a mess, and the police force in Genoa City is, well, let's be real, they aren't exactly the Avengers. Chance is doing whatever, and the cops are always a step behind. So Traci realizes she needs real help. She needs someone she can trust with her life, someone who knows how to handle monsters. So she picks up the phone and calls Paul Williams. Yes, you heard me right. Paul freaking Williams. I literally screamed at my TV when this happened. The fans on social media have been begging, pleading, demanding that Paul come back for years. And the writers finally listened. Paul is back. And it is the most glorious, highly anticipated return we could have asked for. I mean, think about the history here. Paul and Traci go way back. Paul is the ultimate good guy, the legendary detective, the former police chief. If anyone can handle a psycho like Martin Laurent, it's Paul. But there is also this massive layer of poetic justice here, because who is Martin working with? Patty Williams, Paul's sister. Patty is Paul's sister. So Paul isn't just coming back to save Traci and Diane. He is coming back to clean up his own family's mess. He has to stop the madness that his sister helped create. And maybe I'm being too dramatic, but that is just brilliant writing. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but You get what I mean. It ties everything together so perfectly. The history, the family drama, the high stakes. So Paul arrives, and he doesn't just stroll into the GCAC for a coffee. He goes straight into action. The scene is set up so perfectly. It's the dead of night, the kind of dark, moody lighting that Y&R used to do all the time back in the day when things got really gritty. The shadows are long, the wind is probably howling, and the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Traci is terrified, waiting in the dark, and then Paul is there. He's the hero. He's the guy who always makes you feel safe. But Martin isn't going to just go quietly. Of course he isn't. He's a cornered animal at this point. He knows his fake Markham identity is blown. He knows the jig is up, and when a psychopath has nothing left to lose, they become incredibly dangerous. And then it happens. A horrifying, heart-stopping nighttime shootout. You guys, they actually gave us a full-blown gunfight in the dark. It was absolute chaos. The flashes of the muzzles lighting up the night, the sound of the gunshots echoing. Paul and Martin are just going at it. It's not some quick little scuffle. It's a deadly game of cat and mouse in the dark. Paul is yelling for Martin to drop his weapon, doing the whole cop routine, but Martin is just firing wildly. He's completely unhinged. Traci is probably hiding, covering her ears, praying that Paul survives. I was on the edge of my seat, literally biting my nails. And Paul, because he is a legend, manages to get the upper hand. He outsmarts Martin. He gets the angle, and he takes him down. Paul wins the gunfight. He kicks the gun away from Martin, grabs his arms, and slaps the handcuffs on. Click, click. It's over. Martin Laurent is finally in custody. The monster who pretended to be Markham, the guy who tortured Diane, the guy who teamed up with Patty to ruin lives. He is done. Paul did it. I was cheering. I was so happy. I was like, yes, Paul is back and he is kicking butt and taking names. This is exactly what the show needed. But then the twist, because it's a soap opera and we can't just have a happy ending, can we? No. After the handcuffs are on, after Martin is neutralized on the ground, Paul suddenly stumbles. He wavers. He looks down, and there is blood. Paul has been shot. I stopped breathing. I swear to you, my heart just dropped into my stomach. Paul Williams took a bullet during the shootout. He was so focused on taking down Martin and protecting Traci that he pushed through the pain. Or maybe the adrenaline was just so high he didn't even feel it at first. But once the threat was over, his body just gave out. He collapses. And Traci, oh my God, Traci, she runs out from wherever she was hiding. She sees Paul on the ground, bleeding out in the dark. The man she called for help, the man who rushed in to save her family, is now dying on the concrete. Traci is screaming. She's crying. She is pressing her hands against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. The panic in her voice was just gut-wrenching. Beth Maitland is such an incredible actress. She sold that scene so hard. You could feel her absolute terror. So now Traci is in this completely desperate situation. She has to get Paul to the hospital. First, they are in the middle of nowhere in the dark. There's a handcuffed psychopath on the ground, and Paul is bleeding out. Traci has to somehow drag him to a car or call an ambulance and pray they get there in time. The episode basically leaves us on this massive cliffhanger with Traci covered in Paul's blood, desperately trying to keep him awake. Stay with me, Paul. Please stay with me. And honestly, I am furious and terrified all at the same time. What were the writers thinking? You bring back Paul Williams, a legacy character that the fans have been begging for, just to shoot him and potentially kill him off? Who actually believes this is going to end well? If they brought Doug Davidson back just to give Paul a death scene, the fans on social media are going to absolutely riot. I will riot. We want Paul back on the canvas, not in a body bag. But maybe I need to calm down. Maybe it's just a dramatic injury to cement his return. You know how they do it. The hero gets shot, he goes to the hospital, he hovers near death for a few weeks while everyone gathers around his bed crying and talking about how great he is. Christine will probably rush to. Danny will be there. It'll be a huge emotional sweeps storyline. And then Paul will wake up, make a miraculous recovery, and take his rightful place back in Genoa City. That has to be it, right? They wouldn't just kill him, right? I don't know. I'm second guessing everything right now. The show has been so unpredictable lately. Look at what they are doing with Victor and Nikki. Look at Nick spiraling into addiction and threatening to murder Matt Clark. Look at Ashley completely losing her mind over Abby and Dominic being kidnapped. The writers are going dark. They are pushing boundaries. So maybe nobody is safe anymore. But let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. Martin Laurent is caught. That means Diane is finally safe from. But what about Patty? Patty is still out there, or at least still pulling strings. She still kidnapped Abby and Dominic with Martin's help. Now that Martin is arrested, is he going to flip on Patty? Is he going to tell Paul and the cops where Abby and the baby are being held? Or is he going to play games? Because psychopaths love to play games. And think about Jack. Jack is at home recovering, thinking Diane is just being paranoid. When he finds out that his wife was right, that she was being hunted by Martin Laurent, and that Traci almost got killed in a shootout, Jack is going to lose his mind. The Abbott family is under complete siege right now. And I just keep thinking about poor Traci. She never asks for this kind of drama. She just wants to write her books and love her family. Now she has the trauma of a midnight shootout and the guilt of feeling like it's her fault Paul got shot because she called him. Traci is going to carry that guilt forever if Paul doesn't make it. I am so stressed out by this show right now, you guys. I am literally typing this so fast my fingers hurt because I just needed to vent about it. We have to wait to see if Traci gets Paul to the hospital in time. We have to see if the doctors can save him. Nate Hastings better get his surgical gloves back on and march into that OR because they need the best of the best to save Paul. So, yeah, that's where we are. Martin is Markham. Paul is back. Paul shot Martin. Martin shot Paul. Traci is covered in blood. Genoa City is a absolute war zone. I need a nap, but I can't sleep because I need to know what happens next. Let me know in the comments if you guys think Paul's going to survive this or if the writers are actually crazy enough to kill him off. I'll be watching the feeds and I'll update you as soon as we know more.